If you're starting to lose interest in HBAR right now, I've got a massive warning for you because there's some very interesting metrics right now that are showing us where HBAR could be heading very shortly. As well as that, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you my price prediction in the short, medium term for where I think HBAR is going. So hit the like button and let's get into this video. First of all, guys, looking into cryptobubbles.net, you can see that it's been a very exciting month for some cryptos out there. XTC up 85%, Solana 25%, HBAR though up 4.9%, which in the world of crypto is not horrendous, but not great, let's be honest, okay? But I get it. We have so many people looking for the shiny, exciting object. See in my free Telegram, link down below. Everyone just asking questions like, how do I get into Casper? How do I get into XRP? These people have obviously missed the boat for these tokens, at least for now, and now they're waiting for buy zones again, because when it gets those buy zones, again, they just won't be paying attention. So it's basically how that always works. What we need to be doing is paying attention when coins are doing what HBAR is doing right now, because this is where the opportunity is. Stop chasing the shiny objects. But we look at the HBAR chart and you can see like it doesn't look massively exciting, but there is something showing up very interesting, which we will be looking at slightly later on. So what am I talking about? Why is HBAR not really performing that strongly when we consider a few other things? Well, I want you to jump across to Token Terminal first of all, and this is a very cool free platform you can try out. And this here, you can see the top 25 projects on all market sectors based on the cumulative fees in the past 180 days. And up here, you got Ethereum, $1.4 billion. Come down through the list, you got some others here that you probably know. Polygon, $23 million, $23.5 million. These are multi-billion dollar projects, and their fees and revenue, actually compared to the size of what they are, isn't that significant. So what we now know is that actually just the kind of fees generated by the project and how good the project is doesn't necessarily generate all the value in the coins that we are investing in the market caps that we are investing in. But it's very key to understand this. As we jump across to Masari, which is another free tool you can take a look at, we can look at this very interesting article from Nicholas Garcia about the state of Hedera at the end of Q2 2023, which obviously has been over the last month or so. Now, there's been some seriously exciting shifts happening in the whole HBAR ecosystem, really, and that is just going to continue to grow. We've seen HBAR growing significantly larger, and as we jump down through, we can see some of the differences in these metrics that are going on right now, which are very key to understand. As we jump across down to the average daily transactions, look how it is growing significantly month on month. This is very key because transactions are taking HBAR out of the ecosystem. Simply put, the whole value of cryptocurrencies, whatever they are, is basically supply and demand. Very, very simple, really, supply and demand. But supply and demand isn't just down to people buying things when it comes to crypto, because obviously that is a major part, but there's a lot of other things that happen behind the scenes that will remove tokens or put tokens in to the overall supply. And we'll go into that in just a little bit. There's something else that we need to understand in terms of like the ecosystems. Total value locked, you can see, has come down a little bit since Q1 of 2023. But the most important metrics here are the daily transactions and the average daily accounts that are active, now up to 13,500, when in Q1 it was only 5.9. Circulating supply, as we know, continues to increase and will continue to increase until early next year, which is obviously not the most beneficial thing when we're talking about this supply versus demand model, and that's something that gets people hung up all the time. But really, you know how much these crypto projects move when they get excitement and the market starts to move, that really the amount of circulating supply that has to be unlocked isn't that significant when you give the opportunity for projects like this to go up as much as they can. Now, these other things as well, the fees continue to rise considerably while the market cap remains stable. And the reason for that, guys, is because people are just losing interest. The things that are keeping crypto afloat at the moment are mostly just the sort of retailers, not so much the kind of institutional money flowing in, and there isn't a huge amount of retailers in the space. I've already talked about this in previous videos, which if you were subscribed, you'd understand, where some of the biggest crypto YouTubers out there, like Benjamin Cowan, etc., are actually not really gaining any YouTube subscribers each month. BitBoy Crypto is actually losing 10,000 subscribers every month, which is very indicative of a bear market rather than the bull market when you've got lots of retailers flooding back in. And here, the circulating supply continuing to creep up, which obviously we understand, guys. The more in supply, then the supply versus demand model gets a bit skewed, okay? But this is where it's very, very important. HBAR, unlike many other platforms out there, is growing significantly every month in terms of the different partners they're gaining. You can see they're already gaining loads of wallets. There's loads of transactions starting to increase all the time. And this means that there are more and more HBAR tokens being used for whatever activity that is. And this means, if you understand this, that there is a level of supply that is always consistently being taken out of the market. Now, the supply and demand curve isn't perhaps quite how you would imagine it. And I want to draw your attention to this. There is a tipping point when it comes to a supply and demand curve, okay? This is talking about new products, but effectively I just wanted to show roughly how this works. And the reason for that tipping point is because suddenly a few different things have to change at the same time. And when that tipping point comes, suddenly you'll get a very accelerated move to a much higher level. And I think because of all the demand that's going into HBAR right now, is slowly bringing us closer to that tipping point. Whereas you may have already seen that happen in a few other cryptos out there, maybe like some Casper, whatever, that's really driving the price. I also want to draw your attention to the likes of Casper and other projects out there that are still kind of very early on in their development phases. They're gaining a lot of interest and excitement, and that's driving their price higher. And that shows how much value comes really from people just buying their shares, okay? And I think that's a very big part that maybe people aren't paying so much attention to in HBAR. But the closer we can get to the tipping point without hitting the tipping point just yet is a better thing, and something we should definitely be paying attention to, because once we hit that tipping point, that's when we get those ultra quick rallies where we see suddenly 100% gain in a week or maybe less. And that does happen, and you've already seen it in the last bull market, but we just have to be patient. So let's jump back to HBAR right now. What are we paying attention to that's clearly happened very recently? And I've told you the importance of these buy zones. We're actually sat just above a buy zone now. And we can see last time we were in this green area, look what happened. We rallied all the way up in just 4 days. We rallied, 23%, which is a pretty significant move. It's also very, very obvious right now what we've got going on in HBAR. You can see that we have now started to develop this lower kind of trend line through here, okay? Pretty obvious that we are developing support here. Now, this does look like we could potentially be moving into a kind of a bear flag formation. This could potentially happen. But I think given what's going on in Bitcoin right now, and we will jump across and look at the Bitcoin chart, I'm actually slightly more bullish for what might be happening in HBAR sooner rather than later. And that means that we will then be testing the next level of highs, which will be sat up here, and then beyond that up here, okay? And well, as we look at it from here, 47%, 88%. But if we did see a shift down, then we could potentially be looking down towards these levels here, which as a downside move, then you're looking at 31% down. And as we know, guys, the lower we get, the better our risk to reward ratio gets. And what I can see that's very interesting happening on the Bitcoin chart today. As we look at Bitcoin, zooming out further, we can see that we are challenging actually at a very, very significant point that you may not have considered. These areas here, like this one, and then kind of these other two that sit here, you can see that this trend is starting back in March of 2021. Breaking through beyond here, guys, then your argument says that Bitcoin could potentially go absolutely enormous from here. Then you're looking kind of up towards the sort of next rally in terms of the tops here. You could then line these up and you'll see that they pretty much match up quite nicely. It wouldn't surprise me if we didn't see Bitcoin heading towards this level. And I'm not saying that's a bull market top for Bitcoin, but I think we could be heading up towards that way perhaps sooner than people think. As we look at Bitcoin today, many people are probably thinking that we were about to tail off and then maybe fly back down here. Now, I think that there's always a potential that we could wick and do something like this. But right now, I'm actually looking on a sort of a smaller time frame that Bitcoin could be about to do something like this, where we maybe will be retesting here and eventually breaking out beyond here. If that happens, then we are really starting to run out of time for HBAR. This is sort of looking into August. We could have a bit more sideways action for August and into September, October. Maybe things are going to get very exciting for crypto. And if we look at HBAR and the potential downside of 30% down, and then we have a zoom out and we think, well, during the last bull market, the circulating supply situation may have changed for HBAR, but think about how those transaction fees and those number of transactions and everything else going on for HBAR right now was going on back there. The supply and demand model that was happening here, a guarantee pretty much, was not financial advice guarantee, just in my own head, but like imagine this being able to do something like a 4x from the top of here with your 30% risk versus a 4x upside potential. 4x from the top would take you to $2.8, right? Which from current levels to $2.8 is around a 50x. And you're like, well, where does that number come from? Well, it's because of this. This is a very rough way of doing things, but I just want to explain a simple concept, okay? Ethereum, back in the bull market of 2018, hit a price of around $1,300. A very big rally, okay? That was its kind of like first major exciting bull market. And then what happens? In the next bull market, you get loads more people. This represents loads more people getting involved in crypto. And every time, the market will gain more and more people, okay? More and more people who want to buy into coins like Ethereum, like HBAR, which means because there's more people and the people from before also have more money to invest, they're then going to add in. And just because of the network effect, you can see Ethereum does like a 2.6x here. But the market cap back here for Ethereum was significantly bigger than what HBAR's was at the top of its bull market. If HBAR does a 2x, a 4x from its all-time high to its next all-time high, then we're in for a very exciting time. We're risking a potential 31% bit of downside for potentially a 5,000% upside. 5,000% upside versus a 30% downside. Not bad odds in my opinion, but you've got to be patient. Stop chasing those coins. I'm seeing it so many times, people talking about what they're buying, what they're selling, and now everybody, and it's so painful to see, asking like, how am I buying Casper? How am I buying XRP? How am I buying XLM? If you were in my groups or you were subscribed, then you would have been doing that like months ago. And if you want to know exactly what you should be buying and paying attention to the right charts right now, you need to get into the Inner Circle Discord, link down below, just $9.99 per month. And you can see there is a bunch of traders in here who are trading full-time, leaving their daily analysis on all different coins. You can ask for the coins you want. People will share with you what they're buying, and they'll even break down exactly what you should be looking at. You can also chat with like-minded, serious investors from around the world. And just last week, we raised for our first pre-ICO token, along with Polygon Chain, allowing us to buy in before the ICO. In the past, this allowed me to get into Tenet for just 2 cents, and I made 18x on the launch day. This is a completely exclusive thing for guys in the Inner Circle. There will be a new project coming up in the next few weeks, so make sure you get involved in that. Just $9.99, 5-day free trial. You can cancel anytime within that and not pay anything. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.